What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by the man with the picks, Pez himself. Before we get to the picks and all the information about it, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything the Fans First Sports Network's putting out there, including the NFL Whip Round podcast that I do with Coach Kevin Smith. And if you're listening to us and you found this feed, do us a favor. Follow us, subscribe to the podcast channel so that you don't miss anything. This is 100% free. We're giving you picks. We're giving you winners. And speaking of winners, Pez is on a hot streak in Major League Baseball. What's up, Pez? How's it going?
We've been hot, Jeff. We've been hot. Things are clicking. I mean, baseball this time of year, we talk about minefields a lot, and this is a minefield part of the season. You got to take into account how many innings guys are putting in, and they're on pitch counts. Nobody wants throwing arms out in May and June. So things are starting to open up a little bit. But by the All-Star break, guys are starting to put in full tours. We're going to see 7, 8 complete game pitchers. So it's a pitchers league, just like in football. It's quarterbacks league, Jeff. And you gotta ride the hot pitchers, and you gotta do the work on the data and see how teams hit against them. And it's a lot of work, but it's fun work. We got nothing else going on right now.
And we're going to talk about Major League Baseball and our picks and how successful we've been in the last few weeks. But before we do that, I want to say, for those that follow us on Twitter and especially on Instagram, because Instagram's a mouthy bunch, there was a reaction to a video, and you had to remind me of this. You did a video on the odds to be the president in 2024 with the election coming in November. And when I got to be honest, when I saw this video, it made me cringe. I hate mixing sports and politics. I just keep them apart. It's just better that way. And you had to remind me, Jeff, this isn't a sports podcast. This is a gambling podcast. This is about making money. You even referenced Gordon Gekko, which I love that movie. So I want to give you the floor and let you explain it. Look, that people don't take this the wrong way. You did a good job explaining that on Instagram. But in the meantime, go ahead and let us know what your thoughts are.
Well, Jeff, we talked a little bit off air. I mean, hustlers have loyal to nobody, Jeff. When you're a gambler, you bet on anything. You'd bet on somebody dunking on your mom if you could make money. So, a bet we put out on a presidential election, to be honest, Jeff, it's one of the easiest bets that happens. There's a professor that's picked every presidential election for the last 50 years. I didn't want to put this into the Instagram. I want to take all the credit myself. He took Biden about 6 months ago. So there's a lot of data and a lot of algorithms. You can work, you can work yourself to death on the data on presidential elections. It's a one-on-one contest. I know we have a couple other people run them. They tend not to interfere too much with the final results, but there's daily polling, there's snapshot polling. And if you know a little about polling and about data collection and, Pez's Picks, we've got some expertise in that. You can weed through the good polls and the bad polls. And there's a lot of factors in the algorithm on judging the worth of a public opinion poll. One of those is number of respondents. One of those is how many days did it take to happen. And when the verdict happened on President Trump last week and coming down with those felony counts, whether you like it or not, his numbers changed drastically, Jeff. He went from a minus 130 the morning before his conviction. By that night, he was a plus 120. And then by the next week, a couple of days later, it was a minus 105. So, we know in the gambling world, presidential elections the odds aren't based on anything. They're not based on data. They're not based on algorithm. It's a one-on-one race. It's a national election. So all the casinos and the books are trying to do is balance out the wagers. Those odds don't say, hey, this guy or that guy is going to win. I mean, a lot of people look into that, but real political scientists and people that wager on these things now, that's a balancing bet. They're just trying to keep things even. And there's been a lot more Trump money, and that doesn't always indicate the winner. So before that line changes, and in my opinion, I think it's going to start changing. Colin Cowherd, really kneecap President Trump this week. And, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with the guy. I don't judge a person by their politics, Jeff. I only judge people that are Dallas Cowboy fans. Aside from that, you can believe in anything in America, and I think you're a good person. But Cowherd, brought up some good arguments, and, he brought up a lot of things. And that guy's got the biggest sports following in the country. And, this to us changed our algorithm and changed indicators on where the line's going to go. So plus 160, I think in a lot of books it's already moved a lot. To me, that's a no-brainer. That's the value bet of the year. Even it's only, regardless of your political persuasion, it's a 50-50 bet. And, any polling showing it's a close race right now. I checked before we came on, and there's some websites that had all the solid polls together. Right now, I think they had President Trump up 0.08 points in the country, and we're talking hundreds of millions of voters. So, a coin toss bet, if you're giving me plus 160 on a coin toss on anything, I'm taking that, right? If two cockroaches are racing outside, I'm not calling these guys cockroaches, but they are pretty old, Jeff. Not to give away my political persuasion, but when you got two guys cracking 80, I mean, who's really for any of these people in reality? But if they're two cockroaches running, you give me a plus 160, I'm getting on it. I mean, why wouldn't we? And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make money. We're trying to invest money, and loyalties go out the door. I hate to admit it, but I've won a lot of money against my Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm sad to say that, Jeff, but I have no problem betting against the Philadelphia Phillies as well. And that's just part of sports. I mean, Gordon Gekko said it best, greed is good. And when you're in the gambling business, you can't be emotional. Emotional betting gets people broke quickly. I've been at bars where it's halftime, Eagles are down 14, guys start yelling, load up, they're going to come back. They get blown out in the second half, Jeff. Drunk and emotional betting are the black sheep of the gambling world. So you got to be careful with that. And yeah, I think it's good. I listen to Joe Rogan, Jeff, and I don't agree with all of his politics. I think a lot of what he says is interesting, and he has interesting guests. But what I love about Joe Rogan, he's very calm, and he always says conversation's good. Discourse is good. This is the United States of America. We should be able to talk. That's what a democracy is, and that's why we're able to gamble, Jeff. You can't legally gamble in China and Russia. They kill you if you're winning money in this country. Pez's Picks wins money. We're putting that in the bank. We're going on vacation, and we're hitting the town with that money.
That's right. And you are going to be on location in Vegas soon, are you not?
Well, I want to thank the CEO of FFSN flying us out to Vegas, Jeff. We're gonna have some meetings out there. We're gonna punch some numbers. I mean, this is it, Jeff. The heart of sports gambling is still Las Vegas. I mean, we got the FanDuel, we got the DraftKings. I mean, it's nice, it's convenient. Heart of sports gambling has always been in Las Vegas. When the people that took bets around the country decided that they needed a central hub, you put in the middle of the desert, with a bunch of cowboys around you can bribe. So lines have been made in that desert for decades. There's a lot of thinking behind it. I mean, people don't really know this, but Harvard, Yale, Stanford, MIT, they're the people that are collecting the data and analyzing it for the books that are setting their lines. And it's a fascinating place to visit. I love it. Taking my son with us, Jeff. We're going to hit the Grateful Dead concert again.
Oh, you going to see the Dead and Company at the Sphere?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
My deadhead wife demanded it. His first concert, my son was the Dead, and he's seen more Dead shows before 11 than most people do in their life. So the kid's pumped, and he wants to place his first bet. We might do it, Jeff. I don't know. We got in a little trouble this week. We almost got pushed out of an Atlantic City casino. Apparently, you can't take video on the floor. We're going to get it done, Jeff. We're going to get a lot of video on that floor. So what can they do to us at the end of the day? Casino, that movie's gone. They're not breaking fingers anymore. I hope not, Jeff. I hope. I'll be calling FFSN.
Yeah. Don't call me. I'm not getting you out of any jail cell. But let's talk about our picks for this week. 9-1 MLB record so far. There's been a lot of people doubting because we did have a cold streak in the NBA. We'll talk about the NBA quickly.
Sure.
But you did mention already 9-1 with the MLB. You got to pick your spots. 162 games per team is a lot of games. You can't bet every single day. What are your thoughts without the week coming up?
Jeff, you look at, we used to say the newspaper, but you go online, you check the sports. There's a lot of lure in baseball wagering this time of year. There's not much going on. We got games all day. You look at it, you get excited. What am I doing today? It's 1 o'clock. I'm hitting the golf ball. Back 9, I like to have something to watch, put the game on, but you got to pump your brakes a lot. We had a pick yesterday that we were thinking of putting in. It hit, but I'm glad we didn't, Jeff, because you get caught up pretty quickly chasing your money in baseball. If you got an early game, mid game, you get the West Coast game. So, what we're looking at, and the name of the game is pitching in this league, and especially without steroids being in the game anymore. you've got to have command. You've got to be able to throw different pitches. You got to be able to vary speeds, and those are the kind of guys that we're looking at. You can't just gas guys anymore. And we've got a guy going tonight. We talked about, this is Wednesday. We're taping. Skeen going tonight for Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do take that power horse, but our favorite pitcher, we've won a couple games on him, Tariq Skubal. The guy's fantastic in Detroit. 22 out of 24 first pitch strikes 2 games ago. I mean, you're not getting better than that in the world. I mean, that is a world-class game. First pitch strikes, for people that aren't into baseball, that puts the hitter behind. And if you're hitting your spots, you're not giving up home runs, and that guy is dynamite. Pez's picks, we're gonna be looking at maybe a future play on him with the Cy Young. Philadelphia Phillies have some great pitching, but problem with the Phillies, they've got great bats too. So you're laying out $180 to $220 a bet on their top pitchers. Where we're looking for aces, Scoobles. We're looking for guys like that on teams that aren't really great. We got Scooble last time we bet him. I think it was -110 and -115. That's unheard of for a Cy Young pitcher. I mean, I don't know what the heck that line was. And, sometimes Vegas makes mistakes like anybody. He was up against, Evaldo, who's a good pitcher, but coming back injured. So these are the kind of things we're looking for. We're not taking chances, though, Jeff. This is a fun time of the year. You can't go down money in the summer. I mean, you're blasting money anyway in life in the summer. So we're gonna load up on football, and we'll keep looking. We'll take a look at the numbers for our games tonight, and we'll keep giving out what we like.
So you bring up Paul Skeens. Obviously, I'm a Pirates fan, so I'm very much aware of Paul Skeens. The guy is a workhorse. He is a monster. His second start was in Chicago against the Cubs. He had a no-hitter through 6, and they pulled him because he had 100 pitches, and his 100th pitch was actually 100 miles an hour, a strikeout. And so you look at a guy like that. I want to ask you, though, because now with these sports books, you can actually look at pitcher bets. So you could go Paul Skeens to get 6+ strikeouts against the LA Dodgers today, Wednesday, and you could get some plus odds there. Do you go in that realm, or do you just strictly stay to, let's just stick to the focus on the main bets?
The prop bets, Jeff, to me are scary investments. They are made to make money. And I think about this anytime I look at a prop bet. They're making $120 to $125 on every 100 bet on prop bets, where it's about 105 on straight bets on games. And I think a big part of that is there is endless amounts of data research and algorithm pumping and really persecution of every game. They cannot get these games wrong. What Vegas is trying to do is balance out the wagering on both teams in every game. And that is the whole point. I was talking about with my wife. She said, why would they put up a -220? They don't want everyone betting the best pitcher every game. So they want to kind of lure people with deals, and that gives you a better perspective on the likelihood of the game and what Vegas thinks about the team and the pitcher. Prop bets, that they don't operate like that. They have so many of them out there. They don't care if somebody's betting over under on the strikeouts. They don't. There isn't an end all in that bet. Prop bets in general are going to lose. So they put them out there, and there are lines that sometimes I look at. That line seems off, and people tell me they want money, but I think that's a cave that you don't want to go down. I don't know if there's a way out of that cave, Jeff. I think sticking on the most researched and the most analyzed games are the way to really make your judgment. It's kind of like investing in stocks. You're going to invest in a blue chip, or one of the greatest movies ever made, Wolf of Wall Street. You're going to buy some penny stock. My brother's big on this, Jeff. He lives in Florida, and they're lunatics down there. So he'll send me companies with 10 different letters and tell me this is it. Well, what's it trading at? 0.0002 cents. He goes, put $100 on it. We'll be a billionaire. So these things don't happen, Jeff. And I compare prop bets to penny stocks and blue chips to game stocks. And we're a blue chip company at Pez's Picks. We're not Leonardo DiCaprio and those boys doing their recreational drugs and trying to steal mailman's money and going bankrupt. Great movie though, Jeff. I give that Pez's Picks highest remarks for Wolf of Wall Street, for sure.
All right, well, let's talk about our picks. NBA Finals is set. It's what we thought it was going to be. Boston and Dallas should be an exciting series. I think it's going to be exciting. You have a couple bets for not only the series in and of itself in terms of who's going to win. You've got some picks for the MVP, and then we'll talk a little bit about game one. So go ahead with your overall series selection.
Well, Jeff, we put it out on Pez's pick yesterday. Uh, Dallas Mavericks 188 to 190 plus 188 to 190 to win the series. I don't know, Jeff. To me, that's a really strong value play. The Celtics are a great team, but they do have a Porzingis is not the best player in that starting lineup, but might be the most important player in their starting lineup. 7-foot guy. They're really a legitimate big guy that can kind of, you know, block up the key down there and kind of give Doncic kind of something else to kind of look at. Doncic is sneaky. They highlighted a lot in the last series. The guy hovers around the basket, and when he's able to do that, he can kind of quarterback from the back and kind of he can point guard on defense just like offense, and he can scoop up rebounds. So with Porzingis in there, it's a different game. I don't think he's 100%, Jeff, from what I'm reading, and I was just watching some interviews. He did not seem like a confident guy. Another great movie, Jeff, the movie with Brad Pitt, Moneyball, and Jonah Hill. One of my favorite scenes ever. The old scouts are talking about a player, and the one guy goes, "What's his girlfriend look like?" So we know with your boy pitching tonight, that guy is confident. That's a winner, Jeff.
Yeah.
That Viore girl, the gymnast,
Livy
I can't think of her. Livy Dunn. Holy moly, Jeff. So that guy's walking tall. I'm not so sure Porzingis is dating Livy Dunn right now. He didn't seem confident, Jeff. I would sell on that guy right now. That doesn't mean he's not going to be able to come out, but I think without him at 100%, Dallas is even to maybe a better team. They're very long up top, probably have the best backcourt. I mean, I don't know. I love Kyrie. I think Doncic is the best player in the NBA right now. He's been dynamite. I mean, the guy is seeing the floor like Magic Johnson. I can't remember the type of diagonal passes that he'll make that are chest high. They're just fastballs, and they're going by the NBA players who see things quicker than we do. They know where that ball is going to be, offense and defense, and he is owning that floor like I can't think of a guy other than Magic Johnson that's seen the floor like this guy. And Kyrie Irving, Jeff, the guy's awesome. He's crazy too, so he's a lot of fun, Jeff. I mean, the guy's nuts. I mean, he admits he's done some bad things. He's flashing middle fingers across. When he is on the floor, he is a selfless player. He plays defense. He plays hard. I mean, he is one of the best players to be a teammate to in the league. And off the floor, he is what it is, but that's just fun. It's like WWF wrestling. So those two guys are going to be tough to beat. And I like Tatum. Sometimes Tatum's defensive energy isn't great. I'm bashing on the most talented team in the league, but I like Dallas a lot. I think Dallas wins this. I think in 6 games, Jeff. That's our call.
Okay. And then you also like Doncic for the MVP. Am I correct?
I mean, why not? Right? I think you're getting him about plus 200, plus 220 right now. So
yeah,
if you're taking a team for the series, you can get arguably the best player in the league at plus 220. I love it, Jeff. I think that's a no-brainer. We'll be taking them in the first game of the series as well tomorrow night. Boston has not, looked great in first game series. I mean, Boston hasn't played for like 3 weeks, right?
yeah.
The NBA is nuts. I think that benefits Dallas way more. Doncic was beat to hell. The guy had a bad shoulder, bad knee, bad ankle. I think it was a huge few days off for that guy. And, Boston's these guys haven't been there, right, Jeff? So, I think both teams are in kind of the same situation, and I like their chances a lot, Dallas Mavericks.
And so Dallas in the first game, the early line is plus 6.5. You're saying take them, getting the points. You like it? I think that makes a lot of sense.
Love them. We'll look at that, and the first quarter bet we like a lot, especially betting against the team that has a much longer layoff. So, there's a lot of angles that we're going to be looking at this game, and we admitted it on our Instagram. System broke down in the last series. I mean, that happens, Jeff. You got to know when to pump the brakes and kind of when to recalibrate. That's a big part of it. The algorithms and the systems we use, they're not just standard. You have to adjust them. You have to adjust as play changes, as teams play. And, that's a little bit even harder to do in the NFL. The NBA, it's pretty clear. When things aren't working for you, then you got to recalibrate and kind of come up with a different system. And this one, I like it a lot. I'm a big guard play guy in the NBA right now. And, I don't think there's a better backcourt. I'll take Kyrie and Doncic over anybody in that league.
All right, so we'll be gearing up for the NBA Finals. That'd be a lot of fun. And make sure you check out Pez's Picks on Instagram and Twitter/X at Pez's Picks for all the daily updates and the most up-to-date picks as possible. One of the events coming up, which is the third leg of the Triple Crown, actually, the Belmont Stakes. It's being moved to Saratoga. And this throws a wrench in gambling because, well, it's a shorter track. You want to talk about that, Pez? Go ahead.
Jeff, they are in for a different race, the Belmont Stakes horses. I've been to that Saratoga track, and it's up by Lake George, about an hour from Vermont, Jeff. Beautiful mountains, a beautiful climate. It's going to be cooler, beautiful oxygen level, Jeff. Where when they run that Belmont, it feels like New York City sometimes. You can't breathe in that place. It's dead air. So, and this is changing a lot, I think, on how the race is being looked at. It's usually a little more grueling and it's a little bit tougher. Mile and a half, now it's a mile and a quarter. We happened to see the Grateful Dead in Saratoga to hit that track last July, Jeff. It was fantastic. In July, we're wearing sweatshirts and pants at night. So I think that benefits the horses, especially horses that have all run all three races. And I was talking about with a colleague today, you have three Triple Crowns. If you miss the Kentucky Derby, if you don't win, a lot of trainers are going to hold their horse out of the Preakness, which is only 2 weeks later. And the Preakness is a tough race, short track, and it's more round shape, so you can get boxed out. So a lot of trainers will hold their Triple Crown horse out of race 2 and then save them to get, maximum rest 5 weeks for the Belmont. And, we're looking at some of those guys. Having said that, I'm going to argue against myself. Mystic Dan's going to be tough to bet against, Jeff. The guy's had 2 great runs, wins the Kentucky Derby, comes in second at the Preakness. He's on short rest, and I know he's a little banged up after the Derby. They're a little quiet about that. They almost sat him out. So currently, Mystic Dan is, I believe, 5-1. The favorite right now, and that, it's gonna. There's some great horses. Seize the Gray. But we're going to have to really punch some numbers and kind of take a look at some trainers and see what happens. I think this hurts jockeys a little bit too. Saratoga's it's a proving ground, and they have a horse auction there, Jeff. You go up there in the summer. I mean, you see Saudi Arabian princes walking around Saratoga Springs. It is the biggest money summer auction, I believe, in the United States, and you could sit in the room. These guys buy horses for millions of dollars. So what I'm getting is I think jockeys have experience there, but I don't know how much, and that's going to come into our question too. We'll be coming out with picks in the next few days on the Instagram.
Well, it's probably a lot like picking the winner of a golf tournament. It's going to be
Absolutely
a complete crapshoot anyway.
It sure is. I think Mystic Dan, we're going to have to. I laid off that horse 2 in a row, Jeff. So what the hell do I know? But Mystic Dan's proven himself as a Triple Crown horse. And I looked at him as a little bit of fraud in the Derby, and that was wrong. That's great. You go to the Kentucky Derby, just like at a highlight event, you can bash the horse or the Brazilian guy playing highlight, scream, yell, you can say derogatory things. And, that's kind of what I was doing to Mystic Dan. I let my emotion take over in the horse racing, Jeff. I was angry at him for winning the Derby, and that's not too smart. But I think that's a solid horse. And we'll probably have him wrapped into some exactas and, some stuff that we'll be looking at.
All right, for sure. All right, speaking of golf and the Memorials this weekend, it is a run-up event. That's what I like to call them. I don't know if other people do that. And that means that it's a tournament before a major tournament. We know next weekend is going to be the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2 in North Carolina. That's going to be really exciting because that's a tough track, and we're going to have you covered every which way and sideways for that major tournament, the third of this season. But the Memorial, this is a pretty full field. Scotty Scheffler is back. Xander Schauffele is back. Rory McIlroy is in the lineup. So are people like Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Victor Hovland, Max Homa. This is a good field here, Pez. Last week,
Sure.
The RBC Canada sucked. But this week, I like this field. What do you think?
I mean, again, it's a loaded field, Jeff. And, it's a smaller field, right? What are they down to? About 70, 80 guys, I believe.
Not
right?
a big, not a full field, but it's loaded.
Loaded. But the more you look at this list and the deeper we go into the season, not many guys in this list playing great ball. I mean, Rory and Scotty obviously are, but we talked about it the other day. I've played this course on golf simulators, Jeff. It's a bear. Thin fairways, right? Sand traps. I think I played on Tiger Woods golf or something. It's impossible. This course, shaved greens, lightning
Yeah.
fast. I mean, you got to be an accurate driver of the ball. You got to be one of the best iron players and putters. I mean, it's an all-star course, and not to pull hairs on Scotty Scheffler and Rory, but I'm not sure that it matches their kind of games, and both of
What?
them, I
You
I
just
don't think
described Scotty Scheffler's game. Accuracy, greens and regulation, putting even when he's not on, he's still going to be
I don't.
vying for a top 10 finish.
Putting's tough for those two guys, Jeff. They're not very consistent with it. I mean, we're talking two of the best golfers ever, and they're average putters, in my opinion. So I think it opens the door for some other guy. Jeff, I was even looking at Lucas Glover, believe it or not,
Oh
as a
my God.
possible long shot here, Jeff. And I'm trying to get updated odds on him. Plus 12,000, Jeff. And this guy's got nothing to lose. He's got no pressure.
Got
He
nothing to
punts
win
that.
either.
He hits that ball dead straight, Jeff. And came in, I believe, his top 10 last week. A guy that plus 12,000. That's our Kevin from The Office bet right there.
Yeah, you're right.
Where it's easy. We take Scheffler or Rory. We're not making any money. What are they? Plus 350, plus
Scotty plus 360 is what I saw. Rory was, I think, plus 900 or maybe.
Man, plus
like
900 kind of says they agree with me a little bit, Jeff. There, I don't know if that course matches up for him. And this is a guy we talked about. I keep saying his name. This is kind of my philosophy in golf gambling. If a guy's got some, top 10 types of tournaments under his belt and he's playing consistently, you keep betting him until he wins, Jeff. Kind of reduce your chances. So Jason Day at plus 8,000. I wouldn't be shocked. Any of these guys. Aberg's injured. Tom Kim possibly. They crafty game on that kid. But I'm not so sure Scheffler and McIlroy. They got a lot on their mind. Those guys could win the U.S. Open. Can you get really that? I think guys that are legitimate U.S. Open guys.
Yeah.
That mentally, this is kind of a letdown week, and it's kind of like like in the NFL, a big rival. Baltimore, Pittsburgh. The game before, both those teams they don't look as focused. So, and that's kind of my thinking a little bit with this too. And,
Okay.
Yeah, Jack's not happy. He complained about the placement of this tournament. This is like a mini major, they used to call it.
Yeah.
Kind of back poor Jack up the U.S. Open. It's very insulting on the Golden Bear there.
He didn't like where it fell on the calendar?
Sure. Yeah, because,
Jack, shut up, Jack. I mean, seriously, all due respect, just shut up.
It's all about Jack. He's insulted that his tournament. He's not even playing. What the hell's
he looks rough, by the way. Like, I'll say that. He does look rough. I said that on my golf podcast, and which I'm really pissed at myself because if I'm giving you my bets here for the Memorial, I like Scotty at plus 360. Why? Tell me a situation that he's been in where we all said, yeah, he's not going to do it. And what does he end up doing? He ends up winning the stupid tournament. He wins the Masters, RBC Heritage at Hilton Head. We all said the dude's going to be gassed. It's going to be exhausting. He's not going to do anything. Don't bet on him. He wins the tournament. He gets arrested on Friday at the PGA Championship. Done. He's done. He shoots a 68. Now, granted, he did a horrible Saturday, but the dude was arrested. He was stretching in a jail cell. Think about that. So now
he came back Sunday. He almost, could have won that tournament.
He had a top 10 finish in that tournament after that. And so you look at Scotty Scheffler, and everyone's like, oh, he's a dad now. Yeah, he was home, and that's probably an adjustment. But every time I think that Scotty Scheffler is not going to do anything, he ends up coming out and winning the tournaments. I think it's a good bet. And I'll tell you what, I had Xander Schauffele at plus 900. Dude, last time we saw him, he won the PGA Championship. And then I saw right before we hit record, he did an interview at the Memorial, and he goes, I haven't played too much. I played a couple 9 holes, and I shot in the 40s. And I'm like, oh, good Lord.
What the hell, right?
There goes that.
That's what's tough betting these top golfers. They've got so much money. They're not reporting. What a great life. Still the best pro athlete to be, in my opinion, as a pro golfer. You could do it for 50 years, right? And they don't play in the rain. It's beautiful. They complain because their tournaments up against the Super Bowl of golf. And that's wonderful. Jack did, though, Jeff. I read he played the Augusta 4 times the week after the Masters. Shot around 80 in the 80s 4 times in a row, which
this year?
Yeah. Yeah, right after the
From
Masters.
not from the pro tees.
I think he played the whites, I think.
So the member tees.
Right. Which, I mean, that's incredible. The guy can't even move.
He's still got game. Hey, once you got those hands, you don't lose that.
No, you
You
don't. He's probably still hitting about 200 off the tee. And on that course,
just let it run.
He might have beaten Tiger the way Tiger was playing. So,
hey, I want to ask you about a golfer, just your take, because he was a long shot pick of mine at plus 5,500. What do you think about Jordan Spieth? Like, is he not a guy that you keep on thinking he's going to turn it around? He's got all the talent in the world. He's won multiple majors. He's going to get it right? This guy sucks. Like, he hasn't done anything.
I mean, and Justin Thomas not too far behind him, but Spieth,
and he's plus
especially
3,000. He's plus 3,000. At least Justin Thomas played well in the PGA and had a decent finish.
The Spieth question, I remember people talking about it when he was winning majors and he was hot. He wasn't really playing good golf.
No.
He was just this guy that could scramble and I mean, he was hitting 30 to 50-foot putts on the regular, and they're not dropping like they used to. And I'm turning 50, Jeff. I can go contacts, and then I can't read, or I can wear the glasses, and then I can't really see too well, Jeff. It sucks. So, Spieth in his 30s, to hit 50-foot putts, the guy had to have eagle vision, right? So there's got to be something, and losing 1% of your biggest skill in the PGA means you're probably not winning tournaments. Where, Scotty Scheffler, arguably is playing as good as Tiger Woods did during Tiger Woods' dominant years. And the weeks he doesn't win tells me he putted like crap. He never drives it poorly. He never hits bad fairway shots. So, 1% for him, he probably wins by 10 in putting. So Spieth, I kind of feel bad for him. I like the guy a lot. I think he's fun for golf. Maybe the game's kind of gotten a little bit too long for him too. I mean, he's decent off the tee, but he's not bagging at 350, I don't think. So I don't know. I pull for him. I like that bet though. I like it a lot. Any major winner's got balls, Jeff. And that, at the end of the day, it's probably a mental game, especially if you're in contention. So I'll take a major winner at plus 3,000. I love that bet.
Well, and he talked about how when he had kids, I think he has one kid, maybe two now, but he got married. He said, before I was married, it was easy. I practiced 10 hours a day. Now you got other responsibilities. Hey, you and I are both married with kids. We're not going to badmouth our wives or our children here on the air. So let's end it.
Love them.
Let's end it with, I hope you have an awesome time. When are you going to Vegas? Are you going to be on next week, or are we doing that remote?
We'll be in the Jersey headquarters next week, and then we'll be out the following weekend. So we'll have a lot of action. We're going to talk a lot of gambling out there. We're going to have a little tutorial on Vegas or really any casino gaming. We'll try and get onto each table. I've played all the games a lot, Jeff, except Baccarat. I've watched Baccarat. I still have no idea how you win at Baccarat. We will be skipping Baccarat. I encourage no one to play Baccarat, Jeff. That game's insane. It's a big game in Asia, and I have no idea what they're doing there. But everything else we'll look at. Maybe we'll have Mrs. Pez roll some dice and craps or something. That'll be fun to watch, Jeff. She's a big gambler. She fancies herself a great handicapper herself. She's done well picking, Jeff. She once won a competitive rankum pool where you're each NFL week a confidence pool of 150 people. And Pez's pick, she ignored me. She didn't even ask me. She won, Jeff. She was on the trophy. So a huge win for her. That's the family still celebrates that every year. I'm very proud of her gambling prowess. But craps, we'll wait and see. I think she can get those dice to hit that wall, and that's the pressure, Jeff. Vegas. Last time I was in Vegas, Jeff, that's the only place I've ever been. They offer you free cigarettes still. So when they come to the table to offer free drinks at a regular casino, they offer you free cigarettes. That's a fantastic place. I miss smoking, Jeff. I never smoked myself, but I miss the smell. I think to have a good gambling room, you need smoke in that room.
Oh, gosh. Well, I hope your wife's gambling with the dice is better than her pick on the Arizona Wildcats in the NCAA tournament.
I'm going to tell her that, Bern. We are visiting there, too. We'll be in Tucson, Jeff. We'll be making some vids from there. I'm going to try and get on that football field. Who knows?
There you go. All right, man. Good stuff as always, Pez. Take it easy. We'll talk next week.
Later.
See ya.